And on to the details now. In a latest development on October 7th, Hamas attacks on Israel, Britain, Italy and Finland became the latest countries to pause funding for the United Nations Refugee Agency for Palestinians, UNRWA, following allegations its staff were involved in the attack. The United States, Australia and Canada had already paused funding to the aid agency after Israel said 12 UNRWA employees were involved in the cross-border attack. Meanwhile, the agency has opened an investigation into several employees severing ties with them. Well, the United States has welcomed United Nations investigation into its refugee agency following Israel's allegation that 12 UNRWA employees were involved in the October 7th Hamas attacks on Israel.
We welcome the UN Secretary General and the Commissioner General of UNRWA, their comments today calling for a full investigation. As Secretary Blinken made clear in his call with the Secretary General yesterday, we expect that will be a complete and thorough and transparent investigation. We all want to see that. It's good for everybody, and that those who should be are properly held accountable for that. And as you saw, the UN said even including the potential for a criminal prosecution.
An Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called on Qatar to bring about the release of hostages in Gaza on Saturday. The remarks come ahead of a likely meeting between the Qatari Prime Minister and intelligence chiefs from Israel, US and Egypt to discuss a potential new deal to free hostages. The talks are expected to take place in an undisclosed location in Europe on Sunday. However, officials from the four countries have not formally confirmed the meeting.
Qatar hosts the leaders of Hamas. It also funds Hamas. It has leverage over Hamas. Qatar committed to make sure that the medication will reach the districts of Hamas to our hostages, and Qatar said that it can help bring them back. So therefore, to put pressure on them, they positioned themselves as mediators. So please go right ahead and prove it. Let them be so good as to bring back our hostages, and in the meantime, make sure they receive the medications.
Also, Israelis protested in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem on Saturday, calling for the immediate release of hostages. Protesters waved Israeli flags, chanted and carried posters with photos of some of the 136 hostages still held in Gaza since 7th of October.
Here tonight because we want to express solidarity with the families of the hostages and with the hostages themselves. We want to call the government and we want to call every decent human being to do everything that they can to release 136 hostages that were abducted by Hamas in an abhorrent act of war, an abhorrent act of terrorism on October 7th and before that. We're here to say the very simple thing that every decent human being should be saying around the world: release them.
And Yemen's Houthi rebels attacked a merchant vessel yet again in the Red Sea. It caused fire on board and disruption on the sea route. The Indian Navy swiftly responded to a distress call by the MV and assisted in dousing the blaze on the vessel. Meanwhile, the US carried out a retaliatory strike, destroying a Houthi missile that was ready to be launched into the Red Sea. The UN trade chief has expressed concern over growing strikes by Houthis, resulting in sea route disruptions. Saeed Afzarul Hassan put things in context.
Since the Hamas-Israel war, there has been significant instability in Red Sea route. Yemen's Houthi rebels have intensified their attacks on vessels passing through the area. They targeted a fuel tanker operated by the trading firm Trafigura, causing a fire on board on Friday. In a statement, Trafigura said that a missile has struck the fuel tanker Marlene Luenda, operating on its behalf as it transited the Red Sea. Firefighting equipments were used to suppress and control the fire caused in one cargo tank on the starboard side. Indian Navy's guided missile destroyer INS Vishakhapatnam, deployed in the Gulf of Aden, came into action and responded to a distress call from MV Merlin Luanda. In a statement, Indian Navy said the firefighting efforts on board the distress merchant vessels is being augmented by the NBCD team along with firefighting equipments deployed by INS Vishakhapatnam to assist the crew on board the MV. The MV has 22 Indian and 1 Bangladeshi crew on board. Indian Navy remains steadfast and committed towards safeguarding MVs and ensuring safety of life at sea. The Houthi military spokesperson said its naval forces carried out an operation targeting the British tanker Merlin Luanda in the Gulf of Aden.
Yemeni naval forces carried out a targeting operation on the British oil tanker Merlin Luanda in the Gulf of Aden using a number of appropriate naval missiles. The strike was direct and resulted in the burning of the vessel.
In the Red Sea.
UN Chief of Trade Facilitation has expressed concern over the Houthi strikes on vessels disrupting trade between Europe and Asia.
More than 80% of volume of international trade in goods is carried by sea. And the percentage is even higher for most developing countries. So maritime transport is really the lifeline of global trade. We are very concerned that the attacks on Red Sea shipping are adding tensions, costs to global trade, exacerbating trade disruption due to geopolitics and climate change. No?
The U.S. military claimed to destroy a Houthi anti-ship missile in Yemen that was aimed into the Red Sea and ready to launch strikes. The missile, which posed an imminent threat to merchant vessels and the U.S. Navy ship in the region, was destroyed 8 hours after a Houthi anti-ship missile damaged an oil tanker in the Gulf of Aden on Friday. U.S. and British naval forces had carried out attacks on Houthi facilities across Yemen and shot down 21 drones and missiles fired by Yemen-based Houthi on January 10. U.S. has said that these attacks have seriously disrupted international commerce on the key route between Europe and Asia that accounts for about 15% of world shipping traffic. Many shipping companies have been forced to reroute their vessels, taking the longer journey around Africa, although several oil majors, refineries and trading houses have continued to use it. Syed Afsarul Hassan for DD India.
And former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, the last Republican challenger to former President Donald Trump, campaigned in a home state on the 27th of January. At the rally, Haley again said Trump had recently appeared confused and said if he wants to take a cognitive test, he should debate her. Trump has refused to participate in any of the Republican nominating debates and is refusing to debate Haley.
On election night, we were super excited. We had moved 25 points in the 3 weeks leading up to the election, and Donald Trump was totally unhinged. He was a bit sensitive, and I think his feelings were hurt, but he threw a temper tantrum out on stage, seriously, threw a total temper tantrum, and was talking about revenge. So after he talked about revenge, and had a little something to say about me, that's fine. We raised $1 million online right after he did that. Then the next day, unhinged again, says, for anybody that supports Nikki Haley, you will be barred from MAGA. So we had a little fun with that. We started selling t-shirts that said barred permanently.
Well, former U.S. President Donald Trump on Saturday said that he feels mentally sharp now, reacting to recent attacks on his age and verbal gaffes by Republican presidential rival Nikki Haley. Trump was speaking at a rally in Nevada ahead of the next vote in the Republican presidential nominating race, a caucus in the state on the 8th of February. In recent days, Haley has accused former Republican President Trump of being confused and has questioned his ability to be president at his age.
I'll tell you what, I feel sharper now than I did 20 years ago. I really do. I don't know. It's probably not true. It's probably not true. And I think anybody running for president should take an aptitude or a cognitive test.
U.S. President Joe Biden took a swipe at his Republican rival Donald Trump, calling him the only loser in a fiery campaign speech ahead of next week's primary in the South Carolina. Biden's speech at the event also made the case that Trump failed to support the rights of black citizens and represented a threat to the U.S. economy and democracy. The Democratic primary in South Carolina is on 3rd of February, and Biden is expected to win handily as he carves an easy path to the party's nomination.
Donald Trump, when he was commander-in-chief, refused to visit a cemetery, U.S. cemetery outside of Paris for fallen American soldiers. And he referred to those heroes, and I quote, he actually said that. He said that. How dare he say that? How dare he talk about my son and all of us rest like that? Look, I call them patriots and heroes. The only loser I see is Donald Trump. It makes me angry.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. French farmers to continue protest despite government's offer of concessions. A giraffe who inspired a campaign to relocate him because of his lonely life in a park in northern Mexico border has found a new home. Police rescue circus animals from trailer fire on Indiana highway.
Welcome to Jharkhand, the land of forests. Mesmerizing abundance of nature. Vast accumulation of natural resources. Rich legacy of contributing to India's economic foundations. Preserving a vast and diverse tribal culture. With diverse offerings, Jharkhand is a haven for various tourism activities. Shaping India's future generations with quality education. A breeding ground for future sports persons. Come, experience the sheer richness of nature and culture, diversity of tribal heritage, traditions and craft, and progressive development and growth.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. And moving on, the Venezuelan opposition called to reverse the court ruling which upheld a ban preventing presidential candidate Maria Corina Machado from participating in the elections. Gerardo Blyde, ahead of the opposition negotiating team, said the Supreme Court's decision condemned Machado without the right to a defense. The court ruled that Machado had been involved in corruption and had lost money for Venezuela's foreign assets. The Venezuela is scheduled for presidential elections in the second half of 2024.
This deal is integrally designed to have a free electoral process and the absolute cessation of all this repressive escalation against social activists, politicians, campaign teams, parties, and candidate Maria Corina Machado. We also demand that yesterday's decision be reversed for violating the procedure.
And Finland is headed to polls to elect a new president for a 6-year term on Sunday. The elections are the first after the country broke its non-alignment stance and joined North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Among the 9 candidates vying for the position of president, Alexander Stubb has emerged as the front-runner, with recent polls giving him 22 to 27% support in the first round. And China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi met with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan in Bangkok, Thailand on Friday and Saturday. The two sides had a substantive strategic exchange on the implementation of the consensus reached by the two heads of state at the San Francisco meeting. They also discussed international and regional issues concerning the Middle East, Ukraine, the Korean Peninsula and the South China Sea, and how to better handle important and sensitive issues in China-US relations. And tensions on the Korean Peninsula have escalated, with South Korea claiming that North Korea fired multiple cruise missiles off its east coast. Seoul's Joint Chiefs of Staff said the missiles were fired on Sunday. Following this, the South Korean military has strengthened monitoring and vigilance and was working with the United States to analyze the latest launch. North Korea is stepping up in confrontation with the United States and its allies, but officials in Washington and Seoul say they have spotted no signs Pyongyang intends to take imminent military action. Well, 9 Pakistani nationals have been killed by unidentified gunmen in the southeastern border area of Iran on Saturday. Relatives mourned the deaths of their loved ones amid efforts by the two countries to mend ties after the recent tit-for-tat attacks. The shooting occurred ahead of the planned visit of Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian to Pakistan on Monday. No individuals or groups have so far claimed the responsibility for the shootings. And amid nationwide protest, French farmers created a bonfire in front of the southern city of Montpellier's prefecture to celebrate breakthrough in their demands. The government dropped plans to gradually reduce state subsidies on agricultural diesel and announced other steps aimed at reducing financial and administrative pressures faced by many farmers. However, protests still continue as farmers say the measures did not go far enough to meet their demands. And in England's Farnborough, climate activist Greta Thunberg joined a protest on Saturday. The protests are against a proposal to expand private jet flights out of Europe's busiest business airport, Farnborough. The airport has applied to increase its flight limit from 50,000 to 70,000 takeoffs per year. Currently, flights out of the airport carry an average of just 2.5 passengers, with 40% of planes flying empty. And Russia's counter against Ukraine continues as it downs Ukrainian Su-25 attack aircraft. Russia reportedly carried out over a dozen cluster strikes on military targets of Ukraine over the past week. The troops conducted strikes with long-range precision-guided weapons and drones and repelled offensives in the directions of Kupiansk, Krasny Liman and Donetsk. Meanwhile, Ukrainian troops claimed that it repelled multiple attacks from the Russian side in the past 24 hours. Well, Russia's investigative committee has posted online a video of what it described as Ukrainian prisoners boarding a plane that later crashed in the south of the country. The Ukrainian commentators immediately cast doubt on the authenticity of the video. Ukraine has not confirmed or denied of the claims and has challenged Moscow's account of who was on board and what happened.
In any case, what happened is a crime, either through negligence or on purpose. But in any case, it is a crime. The main intelligence directorate of Ukraine armed force knew that. We were transporting 65 servicemen, and in total, I believe 190 were planed for the prisoner swap. Knowing this, they struck this plane. There are friend or foe system installed, and no matter how many times the operator pressed the button, our air defense system would not work.
As you heard, Russian President Vladimir Putin said a Russian military plane that crashed near the border with Ukraine on Wednesday was shot down by Ukrainian air defenses. Also, Moscow accuses Kyiv of downing the Ilyushin Tu-76 plane in Russia's Belgorod region and killing 74 people on board, including 65 captured Ukrainian soldiers en route to be swapped for Russian POWs. And in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir's Gilgit-Baltistan region, people are experiencing a significant disruption in their daily routines due to frequent strikes characterized by the closure of businesses and a halt in transportation activities. This collective action is in response to not only an increase in subsidized wheat prices, but also various other grievances prevalent throughout the area. Citizens across all districts of Gilgit-Baltistan have been actively engaged in organizing protests and rallies. In addition, the closure of shops, markets, restaurants and trade centers in various areas on Friday signals the progression into the subsequent phase of a sustained month-long protest. This collective action is in response to the Gilgit-Baltistan government's recent decision to increase subsidized wheat prices. And a weather update, continuous snowstorm over the past few days has caused significant disruptions to people's daily life and travel in Nilagata prefecture of Japan. In Minami-Yoma city of the prefecture, many road sections are now covered with an average depth of 1 meter of accumulated snow. The city is renowned for its winter tourism, drawing a large number of tourists for sightseeing and accommodations due to its abundant snowfall every winter. However, the ongoing snowstorm in recent days has caused inconvenience to local residents as they must spend more time to clear the snow. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A giraffe who inspired a campaign to relocate him because of his lonely life in a park in northern Mexico border has found a new home. He was successfully introduced to his new herd at the African Safari Wildlife Reserve in Puebla on Saturday. In Bolivia, miners on Saturday celebrated the traditional mining carnival parade on the streets of Potosi. The event kicked off with the miners descending from the mines to the main avenue of Potosi, where they joined the carnival parade, dancing, singing and showing off their work tools. During the celebration, the workers pay homage to Tata Quiaca, known as the god who protects the miners.
Hermosamente vestidas en la tradicional forma que visten nacional de Bolivia.
Colorful procession took place in a village near the Czech town of Plinsco on Saturday. The procession welcomes spring as village men and boys dress up as characters in masks and perform a ritual dance to call for a good harvest and prosperity for the family. The London Eye, Piccadilly Circus, the Millennium Centre were among the many British landmarks across the country that lit up purple on Saturday to mark Holocaust Memorial Day. The violet tones were to illustrate this year's theme, the fragility of freedom. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Political activities intensify in India's state of Bihar, rounds of meetings taking place by all three political parties. PM to inaugurate Diamond Jubilee celebration of India's apex court to launch multiple technology initiatives. Special art exhibition set to be featured during Pariksha Pe Charcha on Monday, creativity at its best.
The connection between the wellness of our planet and our own well-being is more direct than we tend to believe. Let's explore more ways of helping the nature and in turn helping ourselves.
So tigers are water babies. If the forest is degraded, you will not have perennial water bodies. As in the streams will dry out and therefore you don't have tigers.
These are all valuable to our economy, but they aren't valued in our economy. Nature like this is being left out of the equation.
Litter on the street always infuriated Malarvari Muthu and her daughter-in-law Rajavalli Rajiv. They thought that people might not throw their garbage on the street if they could get money for it instead. And that's how the idea for the garbage bank was born.
Welcome to Siliguri and Darjeeling.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kurana, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. 6 European countries join United States in pausing funding for UN aid agency in Gaza following allegation on its staff's involvement in the October 7 Hamas attacks on Israel. Finland, Europe's easternmost liberal democracy and a new NATO member to vote for an important presidential election. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address his first Mann Ki Baat of the year 2024 at 11 a.m. IST. The program will be broadcasted on DD India and will also be streamlined live on the YouTube channels of Doordarshan. Jannik Sinner, Daniel Medvedev to write new chapter at Australian Open. The 22-year-old Italian is set to face Daniel Medvedev in the men's final, with both players vying to win the coveted trophy. And moving on, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on Sunday at 11 a.m. IST. It will be the 109th episode of the monthly radio program. The program will broadcast it on DD India. It will also be streamlined live on the YouTube channels of Doordarshan. Also, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the Diamond Jubilee celebration of the Supreme Court of India on Sunday at the Apex Court Auditorium. Unveiling the 75th year of the top court, Prime Minister will launch citizen-centric information and technology initiatives that include digital Supreme Court reports, Digital Courts 2.0 and new website of the Supreme Court. The new website will be in bilingual format in English and Hindi and has been redesigned with a user-friendly interface. The Prime Minister will also address the gathering on the occasion. And for more on this, we have a correspondent, Vikas Sathi, joining us live. Well, Vikas, 75th year of the Supreme Court after the 75th Republic Day celebrations. What all is expected?
Right, Lipakshi, as you just mentioned, that Prime Minister will participate in this Diamond Jubilee function of the Supreme Court. On 28 January 1950, Supreme Court of India came into existence, and earlier it used to function from the Parliament premises, from the old Parliament premises, and later on in 1958 it was shifted to this particular Supreme Court building. As far as today's program is concerned, Prime Minister is expected to join the gathering around 12 in the noon, and he will address the gathering of judges and advocates and law students as well. Apart from it, you just mentioned that three digital initiatives of the Supreme Court will be unveiled by the Prime Minister. The one is related to the digital record of the Supreme Court judgments. It is going to be very crucial for the legal fraternity, for the advocates across the country, since earlier they have to approach the libraries. They used to struggle very hard to get the Supreme Court orders for references, for citing in their case files. Now it will be available to all the lawyers across the country. It will be free of cost, so it is going to benefit those advocates across the country on a very large scale. As far as the common man is concerned, the Supreme Court will also launch its new website, which is going to be a bilingual website. As of now, Supreme Court website is only in English, so there is a language impediment for people who cannot access that website. So this is going to help people in general. The program will start at 11 a.m. and Prime Minister is expected to join at 12. Around 1 o'clock, Lipakshi, we expect that Prime Minister will address this gathering in the Supreme Court auditorium.
All right, because also, as you told us, many citizen-centric information and technology initiatives are being launched. How will they help the common man?
All right, Lipakshi. So first of all these records will be available to lawyers as well as for the litigants. We have seen many pupils want to contest their case on their own, but earlier the problem is that they didn't have access to the Supreme Court previous judgments. Now they can access those judgments free of cost. Apart from it, cause lists are available in Hindi and English in the new Supreme Court website. So a litigant will be in a position to know what is the status of his case, whether his case is being pursued by his advocate rightly or not. So this is going to help litigants as well. Apart from it, as I just mentioned, that more than 30,000 judgments of the Supreme Court will be available for the advocates free of cost. They can use those judgments. It is also going to help researchers. They can access to the Supreme Court previous judgments, right, starting from the 1950 till 2023. These judgments will be available for public at large. So definitely it is going to benefit all the people. But for law students and advocates in particular, this is going to be very beneficial.
All right, a very big date indeed. Thank you so much for joining us, Vikas, and giving us that information. And preparations are underway as students and teachers collaborate on a special art exhibition set to be featured during Pariksha Pe Charcha, enhancing the event with their creative expressions. It is a discussion on students dealing with exams. DD India correspondent Kriti Vadhera reports for more.
Art is powerful in education. It not only fosters creativity and self-expression, but also enhances critical thinking and problem-solving skills. A unique art exhibition has been curated specifically for Pariksha Pe Charcha, showcasing diverse government schemes.
We are very excited, as usual, to participate in the event, and 3 of our projects have been chosen by the CBSE to be showcased at Pariksha Pe Charcha. So we are hoping that the Honorable Prime Minister will be interacting with the children, and children will get an opportunity to showcase their projects. These projects are on agriculture, they are on anti-bullying and women empowerment, and they are also on creating the oxygenated masks for the people where the environment is concerned and the pollution is concerned. So they've prepared these projects, and there's a lot of artwork which is being put up there also. And all this artwork that is there, it is an amalgamation of different folk arts. It is also depicting the different initiatives that our Honorable Prime Minister has taken.
Art encourages students to think beyond conventional boundaries, fostering a holistic approach to learning. While preparing artworks to be displayed at Pariksha Pe Charcha, attendees are eagerly anticipating the opportunity to meet PM Modi.
It's a very great opportunity for me, and I'm feeling very excited to meet Modi ji, and it's a great learning experience for me.
My artwork depicts how progressively India is developing in varied fields like Kisan Shakti, Nari Shakti, Kaushal Vikas, new education policy, etc. And the artwork is also depicting my Dr. Oxy mask, which we have developed with the help of new technology, which will help people with respiratory problems to seek medical help immediately.
We've created 3 different models, and we've created 5 artworks depicting what we are showing in the models, and one is the universal artwork for what we are depicting. My favorite one is where Lord Ram is creating the Ram Setu, and similarly we are showing Modi ji, and it's his vision to create India into a developed nation by the year 2047, which will be the 100th year of independence.
With such impressive artworks, Delhi is gearing up to host the much-awaited Pariksha Pe Charcha this year, featuring PM Modi on 29th January at Bharat Mandapam. With camera person Lalit, I'm Kriti Vadera reporting from New Delhi for DD India.
A National School of Drama announced the forthcoming 25th year of the Bharat Rang Mahotsav, the world's largest theatre festival. The event is scheduled to take place from the 1st to 21st of February, spanning across 15 cities in the country. This 21-day theatre festival will feature over 150 performances, workshops, discussions and masterclasses, providing a rich tapestry of Indian and global theatre traditions. A curtain raiser conference was addressed by NSD Director Chitranjan Tripathi, Chairman Paresh Rawal and Rang Mahotsav Ambassador Pankaj Tripathi. This year's festival revolves around the theme Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, Vande Bharangam.
इस बार विविधता जो है नाटकों का है, बहुत तरह के नाटक हैं, हर तरह के जॉनरा के प्ले हैं, ट्राइबल से लेके फोक से लेके कंटेम्प्रेरी प्लेस को लेके 15 शहर में हो रहा है, दिल्ली समेत 15 शहर में हो रहा है। विदेशों से जो नाटक आ रहे हैं उसमें पोलैंड से एक नाटक, इटली से एक नाटक, रशिया से एक नाटक ऐसा है। तो वो सब तो अंग्रेज़ी में बाहर से अभी कोई नाटक नहीं है, और बांग्लादेश से नाटक है, नेपाल से नाटक है। बिल्कुल हम इस बार अपने जो प्रचार प्रसार में थोड़ा और उसको अच्छा करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो लोगों तक हर घर नाटक ऐसा हो, हर घर थिएटर, तो उस तरह से लोगों तक पहुंचने का पूरा प्रयास है।
And India's northern belt continued to reel under intense cold as temperatures stayed below normal. The national capital Delhi woke up to a foggy morning and extreme cold on Saturday, affecting several rail operations. The Indian Meteorological Department has forecasted dense fog for the next 5 days, coupled with cold conditions for the next 2 days in North India. Dense fog conditions will also prevail over regions of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar in the morning with lower visibilities. To know more on this, we have DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mundal joining us from New Delhi. Well, Dibyendu, another foggy morning today. What is the level of disruptions as far as rail and air flights are concerned?
Well, good morning, Lipakshi. Delhi witnessed a chilly, foggy morning. But coming to the airways first, the airport operations across Delhi and its adjoining areas remained pretty much normal because the visibility was more than 400 meters this morning. And for flights to take off and land successfully, the visibility required is 100 meters and 90 meters respectively, which was way beyond the expected line. So therefore, the flight operations across the airports in fact, at the airport in Delhi is normal. But however, the fog has disrupted railway operations in the entire northern Indian region because of the fact that, visibility in parts of Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana have dropped to around 100 to 50 to 100 meters, which affects railway operations, and several express, mail as well as Rajdhani trains are running behind schedule. The situation is likely to be similar in the next 5 days, after which the Met Department predicts that the fog would lift up and operations in the railway network would be smoothened through the next after the next couple of days.
All right,
back to you.
All right, Debendu. Also, if you talk about the air quality, which is most important, what is the level of the air quality index right now?
The air quality in the Delhi NCR region is still in the still in the severe or bad, in fact, very bad or very poor quality since the last couple of days. Remember, the graded action plan stage 3 was implemented when the air quality dipped to severe category a couple of days back. But however, according to the Supreme Court's directive and the graded action plan, when the air quality comes above, comes to a bad or very bad quality, graded action plan is lifted and activities are carried out normally. But having said this, the morning air quality is of course very poor because of the fact that there is much lower level of air circulation in the lower atmospheric level because of the fact that dense fog grips around the national capital. But as the sun rises, the air quality improves in the national capital, and it is likely to remain the same even till the time the fog settles down and the winter is here to stay.
Right. Thank you so much, Debendu, for that update from there. And moving on, as cold wave gripped parts of India, Union Minister Kiren Rijiju shared a video advising tourists visiting Tawang in Arunachal Pradesh to get proper information before visiting the area. It is reported heavy snowfall between Baisakhi, Sela Pass and Nurarang. The temperature also dropped to minus 15 degrees centigrade. Well, the Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra is being undertaken across India with the aim to inform people about the government welfare measures by ensuring that their benefits reach the targeted beneficiaries in a time-bound manner. The Yatra reached Bharat district in the Indian state of Rajasthan. The local communities responded to it with great enthusiasm and active engagement. Diverse stalls highlighted government programs, sparking discussions between officials and citizens. Information on various central government schemes, including the praised Prime Minister's housing scheme, was shared by government representatives. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. In the Indian state of Bihar, amid fast-changing political scenario, the political parties RJD, BJP and JDU have asked all MLAs to remain present in Patna city. Several rounds of meetings have taken place separately by all three political parties so far. The hints given by BJP and JDU leaders indicate that the survival of the Grand Alliance government in the Bihar state is very difficult. The chairman of the high-level committee on One Nation, One Election and former President of India, Ramnath Kovind, on Saturday held consultations with former Chief Justice of India, Justice U. Lalit and others. The committee sought their opinions on holding simultaneous elections in the country. The committee has initiated a consultation process relating to the holding of simultaneous elections in the country. A rare golden tiger was recently spotted taking a stroll in Kaziranga National Park in Indian state of Assam. This sighting adds to the list of diverse faunal creatures found in Assam's landscape. The tiger was seen slowly walking on a trail in the jungle. The big cat keeps moving for some time before disappearing inside a bush on the side of the road. In the India's capital city, 1 woman died and 17 others were injured after a stage inside the Kalkaji temple in city collapsed during a ritual ceremony. The injured people have been admitted to a hospital where they are currently undergoing treatment. The local police has registered a case and the investigation is underway. And still to come on DD India News Hour. In tennis, Australian Open, Medvedev set to script new chapter. And the much-awaited world's largest cruise ship, Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, set on sail on its maiden voyage from Miami in the United States.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Kiren, and moving on with the inauguration of the Ram Temple in the holy city of Ayodhya, the centre's initiative, which aims to develop religious tourism in India, Uttar Pradesh's economy to cross $500 billion mark by financial year 2028 due to boost in religious tourism, exports and investment. Uttar Pradesh is poised to receive over 4 lakh crore rupees from tourists by the end of 2024, almost double what it earned in 2022. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sports news. Our latest update on India versus England first test day 4. Jasprit Bumrah sent back Rehan Ahmed to get India the breakthrough, but that was not before the latter. And Ollie Pope's stand crossed 50. Pope has also crossed 150. England had their first good day of the tour on day 3, but it may yet be too little too late if India make early inroads on Sunday. Ollie Pope's century took them to a 126-run lead, but India made a significant breakthrough in the form of Ben Foakes' wicket late in the day. India would now be hoping to finish off the England's second innings as soon as possible to cut down the work they would have to do in their own. And in Australian Open, Jannik Sinner takes on Daniil Medvedev in the men's single final at the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne on Sunday. Sinner ended 10-time Australian Open champion Novak Djokovic's 33-match winning streak at Melbourne Park in the semi-finals. The Serbian had never lost in Australia after reaching the final tour. Meanwhile, Medvedev, who won the 2021 US Open, came back from 2 sets down to beat Alexander Zverev in his semi-final. The pair have faced each other 9 times, all on hard courts, with Medvedev leading 6-3 in head-to-head rivalry, although Sinner has won all their last 3 meetings. And Aryna Sabalenka successfully defended her second straight Australian Open title, adding another Grand Slam trophy to her cabinet. Sabalenka beat China's 12th seed Zheng Qinwen 6-3, 6-2 on Saturday, becoming the first woman to retain the crown since Victoria Azarenka in 2013. Like last year, the trophy will not mention where Sabalenka is from, as she is competing without national affiliation under conditions imposed on Russian and Belarusian players by the organizers. An international swimmer, Linesha, who hails from Karnataka, says meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi is like a wow moment in her life. DD India correspondent Deepika Mehta got an exclusive conversation with the star athlete and discovered more about her goals and dreams. Take a listen.
So important, and how is it so beneficial for the players? It is really important for me because when in India, when you participate in more and more sports, your swimming sport is not actually everywhere, and plus if you participate more and more, you get more of exposure to everywhere. So if you keep participating, it's better for everyone, actually.
And Linisha, when we compare the two, the arrangements that you get there, the kind of infrastructure that you get there at the international level, and the kind of infrastructure that you are getting at Khelo India, various editions, what is the difference or similarities that you see?
It's getting better at India, which is a really good thing.
And also, Linisha, when we talk about the transformation of sports over the years, do you see that India is really progressing in sports and especially swimming?
Recently, in Asian Games that had been held, there were like 21 members in Indian contingent. So over there, before this Asian Games, the previous Asian Games, there were only like 9 contestants. And in this Asian Games, the female contingent who were participating after 16 years.
What do you have to say and the role of the government that is playing in mentally strengthening all the players?
Yeah, so especially the government is playing a really important role, because if they wouldn't have been there, all these games, especially Khelo India, if Modi sir wouldn't have been there, so all this Khelo India, everything, it wouldn't have been possible without them.
And also, would you like to share some experiences when you met Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur?
Yes, it was such a great experience, like a lifetime memorable experience, because seeing Modi sir is like, oh my god, moment. And even Anurag Thakur sir, their words motivated us and helped us, achieve many more things, which was a really good thing for us.
All right, Linisha, we wish you all the very best for this edition of Khelo India Youth Games. So there you heard from international champion Linisha, who is a player representing Karnataka in the sport of swimming. She is all set to create a new benchmark at the 6th edition of Khelo India Youth Games. With camera person Senthil, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from Chennai.
And the world's largest cruise ship, Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas, set sail on its maiden voyage from Miami in the United States on Saturday. The ship was sent off with fireworks as it embarked on a 7-day itinerary around the eastern Caribbean region. The cruise ship has capacity for nearly 10,000 passengers and crew across 20 decks. However, environmental groups have raised concerns about the liquefied natural gas, which is used to power the vessel and by other similar cruise ships to follow, will leak harmful methane into the atmosphere. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook and Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. Up next is live of India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi as he will address his first Mann Ki Baat of the year 2024 at 11 a.m. IST. The program will be broadcasted on DD India and will also be streamlined live on the YouTube channels of Doordarshan. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.